Have you ever longed to become someone unshakable, not cold or hardened, but deeply rooted, a person who no longer suffers under the weight of criticism, rejection, betrayal, or abandonment? Have you ever dreamed of the day when that silent, aching pain you hide behind your calm and collected exterior finally begins to fade away? Perhaps you're exhausted from holding everything together, from being the strong one for everyone else. You wear the mask that says "I'm fine," while all you really desire is a moment of rest, a break. Not from the world, but from the unbearable pressure to appear untouchable. But here's a truth few dare to say aloud. The more you try to escape pain, the more it controls you. If you attempt to numb yourself, hide, or build walls of emotional armor to shield what's broken inside, you remain vulnerable, exposed to every sharp word, every crushing disappointment, every silence that screams louder than noise. This is not weakness. It is the reality for most of us. The difference lies only in how well some manage to conceal it. Carl Jung, one of the greatest explorers of the human psyche, wisely said, "We are not what happens to us, but what we choose to become, and within that choice lies your true power." Real strength doesn't come from raising walls higher to keep others out. It is found by looking inward, by shining light on those dark, bleeding places within yourself. Strength is not the absence of pain. It is awareness. It is the courage to face your own soul, without flinching, if these words reach you. Now, it is no accident this message is meant for you. The one who feels emotionally drained, burdened by invisible wounds, wondering why others seem to hold so much power over your peace. I want you to know this doesn't have to be your forever to reclaim your power. You must find the courage to confront the truths you have long avoided this time. Pain may not break you. It might set you free. Let us begin. You might believe the source of your suffering lies outside yourself, in betrayals you never saw coming, in words that shattered your heart. But the deeper truth is this: nothing external can hurt you unless it touches something still unhealed. Inside pain is not caused by events themselves, but by the meaning you assign to them. It is the echo they strike within the unexplored chambers of your soul. Pain, Jung reminds us, is not a punishment but a messenger. It reveals what remains unintegrated in the whole of your being. This is why some endure unbearable losses with grace, while others collapse under a careless insult. It is not the magnitude of the blow, but the place it lands that matters most. Here is a hard truth you suffer because you believe that if only you were good enough, kind enough, strong enough, you could control how others treat you. But control is an illusion, fragile and fleeting. The tighter you hold on to it, the more fragmented you become. To end your suffering, you must stop trying to shield yourself from it. What you truly need is clarity, not control. As long as you think others must change for your pain to cease, you surrender your power. Freedom begins when you realize that nothing external can harm you, unless it awakens something unresolved within. That battlefield lies not outside but within your unconscious mind. In the hidden stories, the shadowed fears, the parts of yourself you have yet to face, what you ignore, fail to understand, or refuse to transform, quietly shapes your entire life. Prepare now to journey deeper, because true transformation begins in this unseen inner landscape. If this message stirs something within, subscribe and stay with us. This path is just beginning, and you are exactly where you need to be. The greatest deception taught to you is that you are in control of your life. But wake up. As long as you live on autopilot, reacting without understanding, feeling without clarity, choosing without purpose, you are not in control. You are being lived by forces deeper than you realize. You make decisions only to undermine them. You pursue peace, yet invite chaos. Jung revealed this hidden truth when he said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." That is what is happening now. The pain that overwhelms you, the anger erupting without warning, the sadness creeping in, despite everything seeming fine. None of these are accidents. They are messages from the depths of your psyche, the forgotten, silenced parts of yourself. The unconscious is no vague cloud of forgotten thoughts. It is a living, breathing system holding your memories, traumas, fears, unspoken desires, and truths you dread to face no matter how hard you try to silence it. It continues to shape your every feeling and action. You wonder why certain words devastate you deeply, why what slips off others' backs strikes straight at your heart. It is because those words touch raw, unhealed places inside wounds. You never mended truths you refuse to accept if they still hurt. It is because they remain alive within you. You buried them under denials, thick rug, and now you stumble over the unresolved. We cannot change anything until we accept it. Jung said, "Judgment does not free you. It enslaves you yet." What have you been doing? Judging yourself, suppressing feelings, silencing your voice, hoping repression will bring freedom. But the unconscious does not disappear when ignored. It only grows louder, more disruptive. It shows itself in toxic relationships. You repeat in self-sabotage patterns you cannot break, in anxiety rising when life seems calm. This is not misfortune. It is your psyche trying to awaken you while you desperately try to stay asleep. You say you want to stop hurting, but you keep running from the very thing that causes pain until you become aware of your unconscious. You are not truly alive. You are being lived. You are a puppet pulled by emotional strings you refuse to see. And the more walls you build to protect yourself from outer pain, the more vulnerable you become to storms raging within. But there is a way forward. It is not resistance, but integration. Becoming emotionally untouchable is not about defense. It is the fruit of deep inner knowing. True resilience does not come from a hardened heart, but from shining light into the shadows. This is what we will explore next. What it truly means to be unshaken and why real strength is born not from armor, but from acceptance. Let us continue. Most are taught to avoid pain by shutting down. They build walls, don masks, armor themselves, emotionally convincing themselves and others they are untouchable. They say, "I don't care, nothing affects me," but deep inside they still bleed quietly, corroding from within. The problem is not the pain itself. The problem is not knowing what you feel, or why this confusion belongs to those who have yet to turn inward. Jung said with piercing clarity, "Know all. The theories master all techniques. But as you touch a human soul, be just another human soul beneath your carefully constructed persona, shielded by control. Strength, indifference, your hidden soul, cries out to be seen. Emotional strength is not becoming cold. It is not suppressing pain, avoiding conflict, or pretending not to care. True, strength is not denial. It is born of integration. It begins the moment you stop hiding your sorrow, shame, and fear, allowing them to be fully seen. You don't become untouchable by keeping the world out. You become untouchable when you embrace everything within, when you turn to your insecurities, fears, and contradictions, and bring them into the light. Something shifts. You stop reacting blindly. You begin to observe, choose, and respond with intention. You are no longer a puppet to your emotions. And there, true freedom begins. Jung named this process individuation, the sacred journey to becoming who you truly are, not who others want you to be, nor who you pretend to be for approval or love, but the real you when consciousness shines on the unconscious shadow. Individuation begins. It is not perfection, but wholeness. You don't need to be better. You need to be real. Here is a secret. No one tells you the more you run from pain, the closer it follows. The more you try to be unaffected, the more fragile you become. But when you face your wounds without judgment, accepting the fullness of who you are, the noble and the broken, radiant and ashamed, nothing outside can undo what is healed within. This path demands immense courage. The courage to feel, to remove masks, to abandon the lie that pain weakens. For pain is not punishment, it is passage. In the next part, we will discover how suffering, far from being your enemy, may be your greatest source of strength. Let us dive deeper this time without fear. From childhood, you were taught to fear pain, to see suffering as weakness, to believe tears are useless, and feeling deeply is dangerous, so you ran, denied, avoided. Yet, the harder you fled, the closer pain pursued. Pain often disguises itself, not always obvious. It hides as anxiety, bursts of anger, apathy, boredom, or mysterious urges you cannot explain. Ignored pain doesn't vanish. It tunnels through your psyche until, without warning, everything collapses. Jung viewed suffering differently. Pain is not the enemy. It is the soul's voice, the unconscious ringing, an urgent bell. The sacred language calling your full attention. Depression is like a woman in black. Jung said if she arrives, do not shoo her away. Invite her in. Offer her a seat. Treat her as a guest. Listen. But you don't listen. You silence yourself. Distract, keep busy, numb. You avoid the pain that truly matters. What is this pain trying to reveal? Pain hurts most when you are at war with yourself. One part of you longs to grow, another clings to the comfort of old patterns. Something within you begs for transformation, but your ego, addicted to control, resists this tension. Birth suffering, because change hurts. Growth hurts letting go, hurts cutting ties with toxicity, hurts grieving parts of yourself that must die, hurts this inner mourning. Death and rebirth cannot be bypassed. Yet from this ruin something new arises when all defenses fall and pain leaves you vulnerable. Clarity shines through, you see who you truly are beneath. The roles and masks in that moment suffering becomes sacred. It strips away falsehood and reveals the only thing that can truly set you free. Yourself. Jung understood. Pain is not a flaw, but a vital part of the alchemical process. It is not the end, but the beginning of individuation, the path home to wholeness. Most give up before reaching the other side. They run, distract, resurface, but not you. If you are still here, still reading it, means you are ready. Ready. To descend, ready to cross. Next we will explore how this crossing unfolds, how the lonely, brutal path of individuation finally sets you free. Let us continue. We enter deeper waters. Few have the courage to start individuation, fewer to finish, because it offers no comfort or shelter to the ego. It dismantles it. Jung described individuation as becoming your true self. To walk this path first, you must unlearn everything you believed you were that wounds deeper than rejection. You realize much of your identity was an illusion. You are not your achievements. You are not your pain. You are not the image you built to be loved or admired. Those were survival tactics, but surviving is not living. Individuation is the quiet call beyond survival. It is the unconscious lifting the veil, revealing what was repressed, hidden, distorted. Individuation means dissolving the persona. Jung said the persona is a mask of convenience. Removing it peels away the skin you thought was yours, revealing something far more real beneath. Through this psychic undoing, you begin to become untouchable. Not because you stop feeling, but because you have faced the fire you have met. Your demons looked shame, neediness, anger in the eye and whispered, "I see you, but you do not own me." That is when your strength shifts. It no longer depends on approval, control, or identity. It becomes your own steady silent. Sure, you no longer need to be liked by everyone. You no longer need to prove yourself, because you know who you are. And no one, not love, rejection, nor failure, can take that away. True emotional armor is not a shell. It is a core, radiant and stable, formed by integrating your fractured parts. It is consciousness so rooted that no storm can shake it. You may still feel pain, but it will no longer break you. You may still be hurt, but you won't lose yourself. You no longer react blindly. You live in wholeness, no longer drifting on the surface. You dive deep into life's depths. But this depth carries a cost: loneliness. Not because you are truly alone, but because few can meet you. There most remain on the surface, hiding behind masks, afraid to feel when you free yourself. Distance grows. But this distance is not rejection. It is growth. You do not walk away out of pride. You simply refuse to shrink yourself to fit the places you once hid. This brings us to the final truth. Consciousness as your shield. Because it is not force that protects you, but clarity. And that is where we will conclude this journey.